perfection, the Wizard of Wave, Lonzo's at the helm. What up, Zoe?
You know that guy who should stay at home but never does because he has some sort of mental problem that won't let him stay at home when he's sick? That's me. That's me. I can't. I can walk.
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah, I just,
Zoe is playing like a champion this week. No doubt. Zoe is playing like a champion this week. I
don't want to be that guy who calls off for a stub toe. We all know that guy.
We all do know that guy. I do have a more important question, I think, for you, though, which is, where did the football end up?
I gave it to her.
Yeah.
And she said, if I leave it in the office, I will mess it up. Put it in the game room. It's like, so
you mess it up.
You knock it off the table or something.
You need to go get you a little shadow box for it.
Yeah. Wow. What's a shadow box?
A little display case.
Okay, because shadow box sounds nefarious and something that
you didn't have to make shadow boxes when you were in school.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I was in advanced classes. I never took the home ec and the
it's not home like we had
and the shop classes. I didn't. Well, I did that in like 7th grade, but yeah, a lot of good it did me. That's why you're on that side making money and I'm on this side here because I'm sick.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
I've never heard it called a shadow box before.
You need to get Miss Lisa. You need to head down to like Michael's and get you a little autographed football display stand with a little glass case over it.
I'd rather make one. I mean, I made one for my sword, my Lion-O sword, because I'm a nerd. I made that box myself, put the felt in it, stained it, did all that stuff. I can do it.
Fair enough. He's crafty. Listen, really all I wanted to know is who ended up with the Luke Kuechly football, you or Miss Lisa. And I feel like I knew the answer already.
I will tell you, it's between Grogu and Star Wars. It's sitting right there. It's a good spot, man. At least I think so.
I mean, I figured it would get some spot of dignity.
Yeah, right next to the Star Wars. I mean,
good enough for me.
And I got lights and that electric ball thing that I can turn it on and it will shine on it and through the Star Wars. It's wicked.
I like it. Ladies and gentlemen, busy day lined up on the radio broadcast today. A lot of things that we need to get into. But before we do any of that, between Lonzo's circumstances, playing hurt today, because that's what champions do, and another story that came out yesterday, I wanted to know, the average commitment level to a job, right? Like, where is it? And obviously, that is going to be impacted. That is going to be impacted by, the amount you're getting paid for it, et cetera, the amount of loyalty from the employer back to you. But between Zoe showing up every day this week.
You also got to mention that, not only did I show up yesterday, but someone else called in sick, and I work their shift also.
Somebody else had the sniffles yesterday. So Zoe playing hurt, had to do double duty. He was playing both ways yesterday. And then another story popped out.
Like the football field, not something else.
It's a sports show. I assume that was implied, but maybe not. Anyway, there was a story that came out about Buffalo Bills safety Jordan Poyer. Poyer was cleared to play in the game at Arrowhead Stadium. He is suffering from a lingering rib injury, but he did get the doctor's clearance to be on the field when Kansas City hosted Buffalo. Kansas City is about 1,000 miles. And that's not like me being sarcastic. Like, it's literally about 1,000 miles away from Buffalo. It's a drive of about 15 hours to get from Buffalo to Kansas City. Jordan Poyer has a pneumothorax condition. He was cleared to play football. It's a collapsed lung, basically. He was cleared to play football with it, but the doctors did not clear him to fly. They were concerned about the changing air pressure inside of the giant aluminum tube that he would have had to experience to fly from upper state New York out to KC. Jordan Poyer could have very easily said, all right, well, have a great trip, boys. See you when you get back. See you guys when you get back to Buffalo. Instead, Jordan Poyer went to the Bills and said, I do not want to sit this one out. It is too big. It's too important. I want to be there. Like, I want to be there. So the Buffalo Bills went and got Jordan Poyer a Mercedes Sprinter van. They customized it with a cot in the back where he could lay down and, you know, stretch out the lungs, stretch out the torso, get some deep breaths, whatever. And dude took the 15-hour roadie to KC, played the game, and then took the 15-hour roadie right back. You that committed to the gig? Lonzo, if like you didn't feel great and they were like, yeah, but we need you on location in Miami.
Yeah, I'm that committed. I had surgery and was doing a show the next day with ice packs. So yeah, I mean, you know, I am that guy. I wonder if in that van there was, you know, a video game console. Because, you know, yeah, 15 out and a mini fridge, 15 hours, you know, you may have to stop
and somebody else to drive.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
15 hours.
I'm not trying to downplay what he did, but, you know, if they customized the van, I'm sure there were some other customizations.
It could have been worse. It wasn't like, here's a Toyota Corolla, good luck, right? Here's a smart car, good luck. I mean, at least the dude got tricked out. But listen, I don't care. When I was younger, back in my 1%er days.
Yeah, because when I was younger, you weren't around. So
correct. Back in my younger and more formidable years, my family took a trip to Europe. We flew to London. And, you know, as 1%ers do.
You hate telling these stories, don't you? But you still tell them anyway.
Hand, I'm like, it's relevant. On the other hand, Zoe's going to crack up.
Oh, it's not just me, but you go ahead.
So we flew to Europe on a group vacation with like a bunch of my family's friends and classmates. It was a big group, you get like a group travel discount. All right. So we're like 2%ers. So we flew over there. And the flights to get to London.
Sure, you didn't just fly with the help, because that's what I'm getting out of this. You brought the help with you.
And Alonzo, I had to fly in coach like the rest of you plebeians, like the rest of you Neanderthals.
Were you being punished while the rest of the family was in first class? What did you do?
I didn't do anything. We were 2%ers, not 1%ers. Anyway, we flew to London. It's like an 8-hour flight. It's like 8.5 hours to fly from Atlanta to London, right? And, you know, I remember chunks of that trip. There are parts of that trip I remember. We did a night in Switzerland, which was beautiful, in Lucerne, Switzerland. And I very much remember, so we did like this Swedish traditional customary dinner, which is, it's very German style, but it's Swedish. And I remember, I don't know why, I remember that the lady that was serving us was named Bridget. And even like, I think I was like 13 at the time. 13-year-old Rob was like stricken by this woman. All right. I just remember 13-year-old Rob Brown falling in love with Bridget, the Swedish waitress.
See, you say woman, she probably was like 19.
She was probably like 19.
Yeah, because waitress.
Yeah, but I was 13 and, you know, entering that time of my life.
And they look differently in Switzerland.
So, smoke show. Gorgeous woman, Bridget was. I remember her being a smoke show. I remember, and I don't know how, but I remember it getting around to the old man. I remember it getting around to the old man that I was immediately love at first sight with Bridget. And what did the old man decide to do? But pay the band who was playing to play the chicken dance and then ask Bridget to do the chicken dance with him. Not because he wanted to, but because he knew it would embarrass the hell out of me in front of Bridget. And it worked, right? Blah, blah, blah. That's a side story just to tell you the kind of life I came from. My dad was amazing and also did stuff like that, which I'm pretty sure was like his primary benefit of being a dad.
I already knew I liked this guy. Now I love this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, he's like, oh, my son's got a crush on that girl. Hey, Bridget, how do you feel about polka? It's terrible. So anyway, the flight to London was like 8.5 hours. And I remember that flight. And again, 13, 14 years old. And I remember being miserable, being cooped up in that spot for 8 hours to the point that, you know, the lady friend and I like to travel. Like that's our thing is every year we pick out what week are we taking off and we're going somewhere. 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, we did Boston and New York for a week. This year, we did the Dominican Republic for a week. We're starting to work on next year's plans, like where are we going for a week? We've talked about
Jericho Cruise.
I really want to do that. For some reason, she's not quite as interested as me.
We've got bands.
I know.
Like Quiet Riot
Fozzy.
and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, you know.
So we're talking about it. And at the same time, the Madre wants a family vacation and she wants us to go to Ireland. And I'm like, I'm 100% in. Like, I'm Irish. I'm of Irish blood. So I kind of want to see the motherland. You know, I want to go back and see Ireland and see where my family came from. I think that'd be great. Except for a 9-hour plane ride makes me want to jump off the airplane. My dude cooped himself up with his entire family, by the way, in a van and trucked it 15 hours to sleep one night, play a football game, immediately get in the van and drive back. You know, a couple of weeks ago, Burns was at West Florence. That is about 2.5 hours from here. And all day long, I'm like 2.5 hours, call a football game, 2.5 hours back. That's 5 hours of total travel time. And I hate today. Hate it. Had a great time. Phenomenal game. Loved it. But 5 hours in the car in a day. My dude did 15, slept in a hotel, played a football game, did 15 back. Are you that dedicated to the gig? Do you like your job that much? Granted, if I was getting paid NFL starting safety money, I probably would be a little more inclined to do it.
It's not just any game, though. That was the game.
Yeah, that was Bill's
Chiefs. That's probably the game for the entire year unless they face each other again in the playoffs.
A game, by the way, that I laid off of yesterday because you were feeling under the weather. I don't think we can go 2 days without talking about that game because I think that game was your AFC Championship preview, wasn't it? Doesn't it feel that way?
It should be, yeah.
It feels like that is the AFC Championship game, but now it looks like it's going to be in Buffalo instead of KC this year.
Yeah, I'm not that guy who comes away all angry and ticked off for a week, and that's not why I'm sick, by the way. I want to make that point. I'm not the, you know, it could have went either way, and most people thought, and I'm sure you probably were one of them, when Mahomes had the ball with a minute and a half left, that he was going to score.
I did.
And
I sure did.
Because of defensive pressure, he made a bad throw. The DB jumped it and intercepted, and that was the end of the game, you know? And if it happened the other way, it wouldn't have been a surprise either. So
I genuinely believed that Patrick Mahomes was about to Patrick Mahomes us all.
I mean, dude put points on the board with like 12 seconds at the end of the first half, if I recall. So, I mean, you know.
Do I want to take a look at this story, Lonzo, that starts with the headline, Texas woman gored by bison lives to share video on TikTok? How much stupidity is wrapped up in that headline? Well, somebody was like, hey, there's a buffalo.
But maybe it came into her yard or something and she didn't know it was in there. Maybe she lives where there are bison and it snuck her. It's possible.
Nope, she was out hiking. She was out hiking at Caprock Canyon State Park and Trailway, the home of the Texas State bison herd. Clark is heard saying in the video, "There you go, keep going. I don't want to deal with him. I just want to go by. Keep on going. I just want to get by. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't want to go through the bushes again." And then one of the bison turns, quote, snarled, charged her head on. Clark is heard yelling, "Oh, boat. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God," before she takes a buffalo horn to the thorax.
What, it got her in the neck?
No, I don't know is the answer. Do I want to watch I think I have to watch the video, right? I think I have to watch the video now.
It's me 2 days in a row. I'm just going to blame it on being sick.
All right, I'm
Not
watching
to me,
the video. Shit, dude, you know what? No. This video aims to make her look like she was an innocent bystander, right? Sorry, an innocent bison stander.
Was she talking to the bison?
Yes! Very loudly. Let me go ahead and give you.
All right, there might be some of you who say that she deserved to be gored because she was talking to the bison.
I say that.
I am trying not to get too hyped because I'll have a coughing fit, but come on.
As I have to tell.
Thank you. I just want to get through. Thank you. It's just like, okay.
As I have to tell the lady friend all the time, you do recognize that the cat doesn't speak English, right?
I don't want to deal with them.
Like she's like literally, she's
Go.
walking towards them.
Just want to get back.
Don't give me this. I'm just trying to be an innocent bison. You were walking towards the giant meat muscle of a machine of an animal. I am 0%. Yeah, look at it. Of course it's coming after you. Oh, buddy. She got wrecked.
Oh my God!
She got wrecked.
I'm waiting to see it on the big screen.
She got wrecked.
I don't want to deal with it.
Camera goes flying into the thorn bush.
See, I'm disappointed, and I guess I'm just a sick individual. But you know, if you're gonna show it, why are we not seeing anything real? We don't know for sure. She could have just fell down and made it look like she got bored. It's TikTok.
I suspect that when you're getting charged by a bison, pornography is not the first thought.
Come on, you know this might be the last thing you ever do. Put the camera facing the horn and watch it. You know. Do what it does.
Film your impending demise.
All right, it's a work. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Why you gotta run everything?
Because I don't believe it.
Text just says Rob and Lonzo, Bills fan here. Why no mention of the JA-17 MVP leapfrog? Oh, there will be. We haven't really gotten into that game yet, right? We had so much college football that we kind of dabbled on the NFL yesterday. Lots of NFL today, including Josh Allen, who did just enough Josh Allen things to provide us exactly the football game we thought we were going to get. Bills minus 2.5. It was exactly the football game we wanted. And I genuinely believe that that was your AFC championship game. Baltimore, who I thought was a dark horse, lost to the Giants. Baltimore's okay, but it's Kansas City, it's Buffalo, and it's everybody else. And yes, Josh Allen is your MVP frontrunner, in my opinion. So we're going to have a lot of talk about that today and the rest of the games around the NFL. Also coming up on the show today.
Wait a minute. Are you sure the Bills are going to get past the Jets?
The freaking Jets.
They play the Jets. I'm looking at the schedule. They play the Jets on the 6th of November.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, Bills, and I'll lay whatever points you want.
Are you sure they're going to get past the Patriots? They've been looking a lot better. Zapke.
Bills, and I will lay the points, whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't do too well at betting, so I'm not doing that.
So we'll get into the NFL coming up here in just a minute. Major League Baseball. There were 3 100-win teams in Major League Baseball this year. The Mets and Braves out of the NL East tied with 101 apiece. The Dodgers had $111, and 0 of those teams have escaped the National League Divisional Series. Is the playoff format busted, or is this just playoff baseball?
Wait, I thought we didn't talk about baseball if Braves weren't in it.
I mean, y'all might not. We do. By we, I mean I. So I will ask that question, and if I got to answer it to myself, I will. Is the baseball format busted, or is this just how the playoffs work?
We interrupt our 3 hours of nonstop NFL to talk some baseball.
And Jonathan Stewart, former Carolina Panther running back, had some thoughts on Robbie Anderson getting the boot from the sideline in that game this past Sunday at LA. And Robbie Anderson responded to that and then got traded. I want to play the clip from Jay Stu. I'll read you as coherently as I can the response from Robbie Anderson, and then we'll talk about that trade. Texas says, thanks, Rob. I now have the chicken dance in my head, and I want to strangle you. I respect that. I respect that. Trust me, I can't hear the chicken dance without thinking back to my first love, Bridget, and my dad deciding to blank block me from Bridget. I'll never stop thinking about you, Bridget.
I bet your dad killed that chicken dance, though.
Oh, around the whole damn buffet hall. The whole song, Lonzo. Not like, let me stand up next to her. No. Keep it going, boys. Who don't want 4 minutes of the chicken dance? I'll tell you who does want 4 minutes of the chicken dance. Bridget the waitress. My son's first crush. That's who wants 4 minutes of chicken dance. All right, we got to take a break. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. All right, stream, hit, and read. We will be right back. Don't go nowhere. All right, streamed. I'm going to ask you guys a question. If you go into the restroom, somebody has, how do I say this politely, left their waste in the toilet, did not flush it all down. And I'm talking the kind you don't want to encounter. And you've got a pretty decent idea of who it was. Do you seek revenge for this? Do you seek some sort of retribution for this? Some reparation for this? Or do you just let it go? Because that just happened to me. And I believe I could thoroughly classify that as workplace harassment. Assault
to a degree, maybe. I don't know.
Sponsored by Audible. This fall, find everything you love listening to on Audible. From memoirs and true crime to celebrities and sci-fi. Audible is the home of storytelling, audiobooks, podcasts, and
Yeah, Joseph, I think he should do that. Although I will pay for that too, with the repercussions that might come if he does that. I'm willing to fight that war if Rob is.
I'm not going to read it on air because I don't know that I could get through the whole thing without either laughing or dropping an FCC violation. But I do love that I told a silly story about my childhood on the air and got about a 3-paragraph email in 6 minutes about how nobody cares and they listen for sports, not for me to talk about me.
All right, keep track of that number.
No, it's an email.
Oh, email.
It's an email.
So you know who it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, they didn't sign it, but I've got the email address. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I get 3 to 5 hate mails a week, and I'm frankly looking to up that number.
I'm just curious if it's the same person that's sending it every single time and they continue to listen.
I don't know. I don't care. I really don't. I don't care. I just love that me telling the story about my father embarrassing me as a kid was such a detriment to your day that you needed to take 6 minutes out of your life to bang out a strongly worded email about Rob talking about Rob.
Joseph on the stream says an email. Rob's losing the over 60 demo. Possible. No, the over 60 demo doesn't send emails.
The over 60 demo does not listen to me.
Well, if they do, yeah, they might be listening for me though, because
Right,
you know
yeah, that's fair.
That's
fair.
right. That's right in my window. So they may have. We might have a letter waiting downstairs in the. You know, we do still get those. I don't know if you knew that. Just no one ever checks the boxes until they start falling out on the floor.
Will you grab me that Jonathan Stewart clip, please, and thank you. Jonathan Stewart, as is every other NFL player who's ever touched the field, doing a podcast. This podcast is called Believe Sports, BLEAV Sports, if you want to check it out. We know Jonathan Stewart. Jonathan Stewart does he qualify as Panthers legend? Did he attain that rank?
See,
Or was he just like Panthers really, really good guy?
I would say Panthers great, at least.
Panthers great?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So Jonathan Stewart, Panther great, former running back for the Cats, was breaking down the Robbie Anderson situation on his Believe podcast the other day, and this is what he had to say.
We saw Robbie Anderson throw a temper tantrum because he wasn't getting his way. Whatever that is, you're really showcasing to the entire world, who you are when things don't go well, when things aren't going right. It's one thing if you're out there making catches and you out there having 100-yard games and you're frustrated on the sideline that you aren't getting the ball in a moment in the game. That's not the case. So for the young guys, keep your mouth shut and play.
Yep.
Roll with the punches. That's part of the game. It's part of the growth. It's part of the opportunity for the growth. And when your time comes, you make the most of it. Now, I understand the frustration and I can respect the frustration, but when you are on national television, you do not act like that. And so for the guys, for the guys that are in that Panther receiver room, take this as a learning experience. You have a guy now that's at a head coach position that ain't with that. And none of these other coaches are either. Now, Robbie, I would like to hope that you can see that the grace of God is on your career right now because the Cardinals situation.
Yeah.
Now, count your blessing because you would be out of a job right now.
So a couple things about that. Number one, Jonathan Stewart, I'm going to say respectfully, Robbie Anderson would not be out of a job because of that.
He could be on the bench.
Could be on the bench.
Which means he's still getting paid, but he's not
He's
not working. Yeah, well, your job has changed, I guess.
He's got a job.
Your job now is bench. So if you want your job to be bench, I mean,
even if the job was bench, very clear, because remember, and we talked about this on the Views from Mint Street podcast, because the Panthers waited till Lonzo and I were off the air to trade Robbie, but we were 40 minutes deep into our 45-minute podcast when they decided to trade Robbie. So if you want to hear us break the news, but like a day after the news has been broken, go to the Views from Mint Street podcast, available where major podcasts are found.
And look for the thing that says breaking news.
Breaking news.
There you go.
Should have called it broken news. Anyway, Robbie Anderson would not be out of a job, all right? Would not be out of a job because he can serve as a very good third wide receiver and a better than average number 2 receiver with a quarterback who can throw the ball down the field and not throw 16 passes, 5 of which were beyond the line of scrimmage, 1 of which was completed for a single yard, right? Robbie Anderson would still have a job, but what Jonathan Stewart said is also to some degree correct. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. And it's not even the being frustrated part, right? Tom Brady straight up dog cussed out his offensive lineman. Tom Brady ain't going nowhere, right?
Yeah, they also a lot of people pointed out what Tom Brady did over the weekend, including not being at practice, went to a wedding, did a bunch of other stuff.
Tom Brady's checked out.
Yeah, he is.
Tom Brady should not have come back, all right? If Tom Brady was going to come back, he should have come back as last year's Tom Brady. But Tom Brady's checked out. I'm kind of at the point now where I almost truly believe Tom Brady came back to get away from Giselle. Sincerely, I believe he came back to get away from Giselle. Tom Brady's checked out. Robbie Anderson actively checked out during that game. Now, the fact that it took less than 22 hours from the tirade to the trade means that they had already been having conversations with teams, at least Arizona, about making the trade for Robbie Anderson, which is 0% surprising, right? Last week on the Views from Mint Street podcast, Lonzo and I talked about some of the guys that could be sent out. And my number one, I was like, the first guy gone is Robbie Anderson. First guy gone. Because despite the $20 million cap hit the Panthers will have to eat over the next few years, Robbie Anderson is not producing. Now, neither are the quarterbacks, but you can't do anything about that. But not only is Robbie not producing, but he just seems like he's not with the program, so to speak. And then Robbie Anderson put that on full display for the entire world to see during that game on Sunday. So Robbie Anderson was already my first to go, and then he was first to went. Gone to Arizona. Jay Stu said, oh, if it's a bad look. Correct. It's a very bad look. Well, Robbie Anderson felt the need to respond, and like other adults, he did it on Instagram. Believe Sports put up a post with that video on it. that said, Jonathan Stewart has some strong words after the Robbie Anderson outburst and trade. And at Chosen1RA decided to respond and said, you ain't finna try and paint me like that. Oh, excuse me, scratch that. Let me start that over. You ain't finna try and paint me like I'm the issue. I can't throw the ball to myself or call the plays. I did what I could since day one. Don't speak on me no more. You lame as bleep for this and don't even know the ins and out. I could respect this if you pulled up and said this to me direct, but you jump on a podcast and use my name to get some traction. That boat lame a bleep, homie. Couple of things, Robbie. Couple of things. If Robbie Anderson had acted like a good teammate, was involved in the meetings, wasn't screaming at his position coach, I would have agreed entirely with the first take. When he said, I can't throw the ball to myself or call the plays, I would have agreed with that. Correct. But you've got to be working to make the product better. And you weren't, dude. You were actively ignoring the work that was being done to make the football better. I would have agreed with you. If Robbie Anderson came out and said, even if he'd have gone full TO doing crunches in the driveway, would have come out and said, hey, look, I know we're struggling. I'm doing all I can, but I can't throw the ball to myself or call the plays. I'd have been like, yeah, guy's got a point. Dude has got a point. But what you did during the game kind of kicked the legs out from under that. Second part, I love that he said, I can respect this if you pulled this, if you pulled up and said this to me direct. Dude, Jon Stewart, even retired, would eat the 108-pound Robbie Anderson for lunch. All right? Robbie, you don't want to see Jay Stu pulling up on you, my guy. You don't want to see Jon Stewart showing up on your doorstep. You're not winning that fight. How long's Jon Stewart been retired for? Still going to put the work to Robbie Anderson. Not a doubt about it. But you jump on a podcast to use my name to get some traction. My guy, do you understand how media works? I don't talk about Robbie Anderson to get some traction. I talk about Robbie Anderson because Robbie Anderson created a situation where he has to be talked about. Right? Lonzo, is there any way, you and I don't delve into the drama of sports unless it's entertaining. Is there any way to talk about the Panthers this weekend and not talk about Robbie Anderson?
No.
No,
there's not. Now, maybe a week from now, once he's gone.
If 3 weeks from now we're still banging the drum on Robbie Anderson, then then you're doing it for media. But my guy, you had an outburst on the sideline. You bailed on your coaches. You bailed on your teammates. You bailed on your team.
This is such a big story. Even shows that only talk about college football probably talk about it.
It's a huge story. Jonathan Stewart is in the media now, dude. And you made yourself the biggest story. You did that to you. Nobody else did that to you, Robbie. You did that to you. Brett screwed Brett. You did it to yourself, my man. That's all this comes down to. It's not lame. It's the job. Don't get me wrong. There are times, one of the reasons, actually probably the primary reason, that I'm very glad that the Rob Brown Show is on the Fan Upstate. Here, I'll ask Lonzo so that I'm not biased. Lonzo, how much editorial control do our bosses take over our show?
0. I mean, if the boss walks in here, it's probably I did something.
I will tell you this. The only way I would see the bosses here take over editorial control of the show is if we went like 2-3 weeks without talking Clemson or South Carolina, right?
I don't even think then it would be a problem. It depends on what season. If we're in basketball season,
True.
and
if the needle's still moving, honestly, if we did 3 weeks of no Clemson or Carolina and the numbers
by the way,
kept growing,
we have done that during COVID.
Sure, fair enough.
So
fair enough. If we did that and the numbers were growing, they still wouldn't say anything, right? But at the end of the day, our job is to talk about what's topical and relevant, and you made yourself topical and relevant, not just because of the tirade itself, but because of the fact that you were already on the block. You were already the number one most likely to be traded of all the Carolina Panthers, and that outburst sealed that deal officially and entirely. At that point, there was no other option.
Anytime there's an outburst like this in any sport, it's going to be talked about. Because just like Jonathan Stewart, I mean, you're out there. There are only 3 games on, if I recall, in the 4 o'clock window, and the Panthers was one of those games. So you got more eyes on you than you normally do, and you're out there doing that.
Yeah. Hey, remember when Vontae Davis just retired in the middle of a game? Remember that? Dude, Vontae Davis walked off the field mid-game in week 2. The Bills were playing the Chargers. It was 28-6. Vontae Davis just left. He was 30 years old. His team was getting their rear ends kicked up and down the field by the Chargers. And Vontae went, nah, I'm good. Vontae didn't have a tirade. He didn't have an outburst. Right? He didn't get into a fight with his coach. Vontae just went, you know what? I don't feel the passion right now. I don't love the game anymore, so I'm out. I'm out. He opted to retire during halftime. He's just out. Vontae did not ruin his team. Vontae, you could argue he quit on his, he literally quit on his team, both metaphorically and literally, like he's on the team and he just quit. But everybody came in on Monday morning. And that's what we talked about. That was it. That's what we talked about. That was only like 3 years ago, I think. Everybody came in and talked about it Monday morning. When Antonio Brown lost his boat and flipped out on the Buccaneers and did a striptease on the way back to the locker room, we all talked about it. When Mike Wallace walked on the Dolphins in 2014, first half came to an end, and Wallace just left. He didn't want to do it. Just quit. We all talked about it. Robbie, you did it to yourself, my dude. This was on you, partner. This was your call, your decision. You decided to do it. Nobody else. Jonathan Stewart is saying what all the rest of us already know. You did it to yourself. You got to relax, my guy. Good luck in Arizona, big dog.
Is this the last time we see this sort of tirade from him? Because he's going to Arizona. Where is Hopkins back yet?
Not yet, but he's on his way, probably the next 2 weeks. But Marquise Brown is potentially done for the year.
Okay.
And Robbie would slide into that slide.
But when DeAndre Hopkins gets back, you're not getting the ball, Robbie.
No, you're the number 2 again, dude.
Yeah, you are.
You're the number 2 again. No doubt about that. So we'll see how he responds to it.
And
right.
Kyler have to decide, do I throw the ball to Robbie or do I run? He's going to run.
We'll see. I still think Robbie Anderson can be a good wide receiver in the National Football League. I do. But I think he better get his head screwed on straight because it ain't right now. That's all Jon Stewart said, and he's right. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute, wrap up hour number 1. Got a lot to get into in hour number 2. A little playoff baseball. The Bravos are out, bounced by Philly, their divisional rivals. And I know it stings, but if anybody knows the strategy the Phillies took into the playoffs, it's the Braves, because you did the same thing last year. We'll talk about that and more coming up on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Jeez, that's on me again.
No, it's not. It's not. 2 days in a row I've done this. About to just get up and walk out.
Do that at 12:01. That's not true. You can go. I can do the show.
Yeah, I know. It wouldn't have the same impact. All right, whatever, dude. Man, I'm tired of being on these. Take us off the stream for a moment.
Sure. Be right back. Stream, don't go nowhere. All right, the Rob Brown Show wraps up hour number 1 right now. Fan phone's open. 844-326-3663. 844-FAN phone. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN FAM. Tell you a struggle that I've had in my sports fandom career. My struggle is, unless you bring solid, hard proof to the table, I don't believe conspiracy theories. Unless they're about my team. And then I absolutely do. And Joey B on the Facebook chat has already predicted where the next segment of the show is going. 3 100-win teams in Major League Baseball. The Dodgers with $111, the Braves and the Mets with 101 apiece. The Mets got bounced in the wild card team by a San Diego Fathers team that then took out the Dodgers, by the way. The Padres are the giant slayers right now. The Phillies took out the Bravos in the NLDS as well. But there was something wonky about it. Something weird about it regarding the Braves. And I am going to tell you that it is very much towing the line of conspiracy theory-ish to me. I'll talk about that when we come back. My name is Rob Brown, the great Lonzo, playing like a champion today behind the board. We got a lot more to get into. Stick around, don't go anywhere. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate.
I'm having trouble catching my breath. You see me?
I saw that.
Yeah, it's one of the main problems right now. Oh, please stop.
Can you mute the thread? I can mute group threads.
I probably can, but as soon as I do that, I'll miss something that I need to know. I can't not look at my phone because we know someone else sends me texts sometimes. Because I am important. Also, Tim will be in today, so I think I said that, so I don't have to worry about that. I don't care if I said it twice. I'm happy about it.
Inflation is ridiculous. Everything from gas prices, food, and vacations. At My Affordable Braces, we have and will continue to offer braces starting at just $39.95. With new technology, you will need fewer visits than ever.
To prove how bad I feel, I didn't play any games last night.
I didn't see you get on.
I watched an episode of an anime while I ate some food. Then I actually turned that football game on and was gone. So probably within a minute or two of that, I may have made it past the opening kickoff, and that was it.
I'm not gonna lie, I hated that game so much. I watched Monday Night Raw live.
See,
Which I don't ever do.
I watched a little bit of that this morning. I'm going to watch the rest of it when I go home. Quit joking about oxygen tanks, man. I've been seriously considering if I need one or not.
Small talk out, and this is the crowd that universe. The second time I asked you, it was a bit of a joke, but then we had a really interesting conversation about it. Then my Pro Bowl running back beat a dude's ass in an elevator, and Chris ruins everything. Don't ever ask me how my team's doing again. You have lit my stadium on fire, made my coach retire, and got my Pro Bowl running back arrested. I appreciate it.
Same great show, new time.
The Rob Brown Show.
Now 19 noon, only on the Fan Upstate.
We are all on this planet together. So join Odyssey and find your one thing. Halloween this year. Also, you can add container soil and stems, roots, and leaves. Join Odyssey. And together, each is doing
I hate that I know what you're doing, but I can't think of it.
You're a wizard, Ari.
Ah, Harry Potter.
I'll tell you one of my guilty pleasures. I don't even know why or when this started. is to go to YouTube and watch first-person perspectives of like theme park rides that I've never gotten to do before.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun to me, but
I know
okay.
it's weird, but I don't know. I like theme park rides, and I've gone to Harry Potter World twice, and both times that I went, the roller coaster I was most excited about going on was shut down, so I haven't gotten to ride it yet. Yesterday, I was skimming through my YouTube, and it suggested that ride, like to watch the first-person perspective of that ride, and I did. And of course, as they're walking through the queue to get in the line, that song is playing, and now it's been stuck in my head for 12 hours. I am a weirdo. Thank you, stream. I don't even have to look to know that one of you guys said that.
You saw that Hagrid died.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Staples has you covered with tech solutions and accessories. Laptops to networking solutions. And AirPods Pro are just $199. You save $50. The latest tech solutions are at Staples, the working and learning store, in-store and online. Ends 10/22, limit 2 while supplies last.
When I can't sleep, my mind just races.
Yes, weather alerts. We get that there's a freeze warning because it's cold outside.
The night's forecast. A deep freeze. That's a good reference.
I thought he was excellent as Mr.
He was
Freeze.
amazing in that movie.
I would have been proud to play one of his henchmen in that movie. Would have got a sweet ice cream name. Been cool. Mad World in the first break.
Mad World on the first break. Hour numero dos of the Rob Brown Show starts right now. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Great to be with you. We talked on Monday and last Monday about the new alternate broadcast format that a lot of different entities are trying out, right? Like Monday Night Football, NFL, ESPN, they've been doing the Manning cast where they have Peyton and not Peyton sit together on the couch, watch football. They bring in celebrity guests, et cetera, all well, good fun. Then they started with the NCAA football version of it, which now has Pat McAfee on Saturdays nights, doing it with the rest of his podcast crew and special guests. Clipboard Jesus was on there on Saturday. And I love the alternate broadcast format, right? Keegan and I were texting back and forth about it during the McAfee broadcast on Saturday. In that, I've said this how many times, Pat McAfee is a better version of Rob Brown. That's why I like him. And I said, I think, to me, it's subjective, but to me, the watch along is my favorite way to present a football contest, Alonzo, because, I was going back and forth during that Clemson FSU game. And on one channel, you've got the regular play-by-play, right? You got Herbie and whoever, Fowler, sitting up at the box. And they're like, and they're going to hand it off to Shipley. He's got to see him up the right-hand side. 6, 7, 10-yard gain. And he's taken down by McDonald. It's good enough for a first down. What happened there, Kirk? Well, the left side guard pulled, and that's all well and good. And listen, if you're down for the X's and O's, that's good for you, right? They're going to tell you exactly what happened and why. I get that. I like that. But so give me like 7 bros in a room together, hanging out, talking boat, having a good time, and focused on that game. Like McAfee's guys, like the Manning cast, I'm all in. I think it's great.
See, I'm good with it, except unless it's a team that I pull for, because then I don't want all the distraction. I just want to watch the game. And so, like Saturday night when I watched it, I was enjoying it. The fact that that touchdown Jesus didn't belong in that room, and they all knew it because he was better looking than anyone in that room. They made sure they pointed that out, except for maybe AJ Hawk. But still, no, they have a good time, and they do. I like theirs better than the Manning cast because McAfee is doing stuff for charity in between. I think that's really cool.
And it's cool. They were doing like, what were they donating? Like 14 grand for every touchdown scored. And then after every touchdown scored, they would play a game of some type.
I like throwing clipboards into
they had clipboards throwing clipboards into a trash bin.
That was pretty funny.
McAfee was taking like half-court NBA range 3 shots. They had one of the producers hitting long golf putts, and for everyone that they converted, it was another grand on top.
Yeah, he wasn't very good. He only hit
No,
one.
that guy sucked.
That was not very good.
But it was entertaining to me, and I think I can get down with that, right? Like when it's your team, you're probably a little less interested. When it's a game that you have mild or no interest in, the watch along's great. Well, check this out. I got a email late last night from the folks over at BetQL, right? BetQL, of course, is the show that sponsored the baseball show that I was doing during this baseball season, Bet for the Cycle with Rob Brown and Cody Decker. I got a email last night from BetQL Zoe that they now want to get in on that, right? So they are going to start doing game watch-alongs with local hosts from different markets watching along with the games out of their market. And they are starting it, Lonzo, this Saturday on the BetQL app. Rob Brown is going to be hosting the alternate chat alongside the Clemson game. So I'll actually be popping in. I'll be interacting with people. We'll be talking about the game, breaking down the game as it goes. And it'll be from a gambling perspective, from a betting perspective. But it's going to be the alternate broadcast. I asked you guys earlier in the week, like, is that something if we did on a local level, would you get in on, right? If Lonzo and I did a game watch along where we did Clemson-Syracuse this weekend, and we were going to sit down and the game was going to be on, and Zoe and I were just going to hang, have some celebrity guests come in, talk about the game, talk about us, whatever, would you guys be in for that? And there were a bunch of people who said what Lonzo said. Rob, I would take that in, but not if it was my team, right? I would watch that, but not if it's for my game. I want to hear the X's and O's on my game, and I get that. Well, BetQL heard that. They're paying attention, and they have started the live watch-along chats, and they have asked me to do this Saturdays for Clemson. So grab the BetQL app, because on Saturday at noon, when Clemson hosts Syracuse, Rob Brown and somebody else, I do not know who yet, will be hosting the game watch-along. But then I got to thinking a little bit. about the Clemson schedule right now. And I'm curious as to how you guys feel about it, right? Clemson played Florida State in Tallahassee at night. They come back home. They play Syracuse at home at noon. They turn around. They go on the road to Notre Dame. Now, granted, Stanford just beat Notre Dame, and Stanford is historically bad, like really bad. The Notre Dame win was the first FBS win they have had in a year. The other teams they beat have all been FCS, and they've lost to a couple of them. So Notre Dame's not the challenge it used to be, but they are not rolling it over. They are not taking off the golden domes and walking away. Clemson had to play at night against FSU, They play in the day at home against Syracuse. Then they got to play at night against Notre Dame. And I'm willing to make a bet right now, Zoe. November 12th, Louisville comes down to Clemson. I'm willing to make a dollar bet they play that game during the day too. Am I being a conspiracy theorist? We're going to do a couple of conspiracies here. We're going to do a couple of conspiracies. Here is one of them. Is there something to the fact?
Conspiracy. Clemson plays one of their toughest road games of the year in Tallahassee at night. They return home to take on a top 15 Syracuse team in Death Valley during the day. Then, on the road at Notre Dame, yet another night game. Louisville.
Can't say Louisville in a serious voice.
Louisville comes to Clemson November 12th. Will it be a day game? Will the trend of road night games and home day games continue? Does someone have it out for the Tigers? Or is it just luck of the draw? You be the judge.
That's all I got. That was the whole thing.
Get a one with the Cardinals come to town. Or is it Cardinal? Louisville.
I could have
Cardinal.
gone
The Cardinals come a calling.
There you go.
alliteration, man. Alliteration makes every promo better, right? Is there anything to the fact that in the next 3 games for sure, and I suspect that the Louisville game at Louisville, the Louisville game as well, at Clemson will be a day game.
Why is it not Louisville? I bet originally it was Louisville.
Louisville.
Originally it was Louisville.
Too many syllables.
Dude named Lewis went there and said, "This is my ville."
I believe. I don't know. Louisville. Who was Louisville named for? See, my Wikipedia searches are just wild. This morning before the show started, I Googled the career and successes of Carrot Top. That's in my search history now.
Which he's still going strong, if I understand correctly.
He is. He's got a residency in Vegas that pays him like metric buttloads of money.
He's on some radio shows a bunch too. I forget which ones, but
let's see. Named after King Louis XVI of France.
okay, so I was wrong. Because it would be Louis.
Louisville was founded in 1788 by George Rogers Clark, making it one of the oldest cities west of the Appalachians. Yeah. Settlement first grew as a portage site. It was the founding city of the Louisville and Nashville Railroad, which grew into a 6,000-mile system across 13 states. Louisville is known as the home of boxer Muhammad Ali, the Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Fried Chicken, the University of Louisville and its Cardinals, Louisville Slugger baseball bats, and three of Kentucky's 6 Fortune 500 companies. Louisville's main commercial airport is Muhammad Ali International. So there you go. Now you know some things about Louisville. Why am I so dedicated to saying it Louisville? When I was broadcasting down in Destin, there was a year that Louisville made it to, I think, the Elite Eight. And I was hosting a remote one day. And we were doing a basketball remote. I was doing the afternoon drive time show at the time. We're doing a remote. And a young lady walks up to me by the name of Alexa. She walks up to me at the bar. And she goes, "Rob, I drove an hour and a half to come to this remote." And I was like, "Hey, you know." She goes, "Because I am from Louisville and no one says it Louisville." I was like, "What do you mean? Everybody says it Louisville." She goes, "No, people from Louisville correctly call it Louisville."
Did you mention the Slugger? Did you mention the bats? Called the Louisville Slugger, not the
Not in Louisville. It's not. It's Louisville Slugger.
I bet in Louisville, it's the Louisville Slugger.
I mean, she was from Louisville, proved it to me, showed me that she is from Louisville, and goes, and this is where she said it. She said, if you were to get a job in Louisville and you went to Louisville and you open your first show by saying, hey, it's your home for Louisville sports, you would never get listened to in Louisville. Apparently, they take it very seriously in Louisville that it's Louisville, not Louisville.
Yeah, you're operating at a small sample size, though. This is like a one lady who drove all that way to correct you. Yeah, that's the kind of person you want to be around. I'm going to drive an hour and a half to tell you that you're wrong.
That's passion. I mean,
Is
that's
it?
dedication. Yes.
No.
Yes, that's
No,
dedication.
No.
She wanted her home city repped the way she thought it deserved to be repped.
Are you going to drive an hour and a half to correct someone?
Depends on how egregiously wrong they are.
I will drive an hour and a half to correct Chris. That's it. But,
So, yes, you
but,
would. Is
all
the
right.
answer.
That's the only person, though.
All right. Anyway, Louisville comes to town on November 12th. If that game is listed as a day game, which we will learn next week. If that game goes down as a day game, I will have sincere question marks, right? And here's why. I am looking at the AP Top 25 poll. And as we've mentioned, in terms of votes, there was, with a capital W, a pretty big gap from 1 to 4, right? Not the case no mo. Georgia leads the AP poll with 1,530 points and 31 of the first place votes. Ohio State, Lonzo, is now just 21 total points behind Georgia at number 2 with 1,509. In fact, Ohio State is closer to Georgia than Tennessee is to Ohio State with 1,474. So you got a 21-point gap to get you from 2 to 1, Ohio State to Georgia. And then you've got a 35-point gap to get you from Tennessee to Ohio State. Now, Georgia has 31 place votes, Ohio State has 17, and Tennessee has 15. So the first place votes are closer between 2 and 3 than 1 and 2, but the overall points are closer from 1 to 2 than 2 to 3. Michigan has jumped Clemson to get to number 4. Tennessee has 1,474. Michigan has 1,384. You have a drop-off of 21 points from Georgia to Ohio State. You have a drop-off of 36 points from Ohio State to Tennessee, and then you have a drop-off of 90 points to get from Tennessee down to Michigan, and then another drop-off of from 1,384 to 1,336 for Clemson, about 50 points, a little less than 50 points. But here is what I don't know if it's fair or not. I read yesterday on a Clemson Reddit thread where there was somebody asking the question, is there an inherent bias for, or I should say against Clemson in the scheduling, right? Is there an inherent bias against Clemson in the scheduling? Why is it that Clemson's last few toughest games on the road have all been at night, whereas all of their home games have been during the day? And especially this one at noon against a 6-0 Cuse team. Now I've asked the question, and I'll let you guys answer. Is Cuse better than FSU? My answer is no. Syracuse is undefeated, yeah, but I don't think they're better than FSU, despite the fact that they did knock off NC State. NC State did lose their starting quarterback for the year in that one, though, right? So some debate to be had there. But is there an inherent bias? And my answer is going to be no. My answer is going to be no, because there is some level of impact that the home team has in scheduling these games, right? A texter said, Lonzo, tell me if you believe this or not. A texter says Clemson has always historically pushed for day schedules for their home games to accommodate the travel for all of their donors, supporters, which travel from around the entire state. Would that be the opposite? Or are they talking about travel back home after the game?
Travel back. You've been there. It takes a while to get in and out of there.
Yeah, leaving Clemson sucks.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're.
Game's beautiful. Campus is beautiful. Leaving it sucks.
Yeah. If you're leaving and it might take you a couple hours to get out of there. So it's a lot better to leave in the afternoon than it is. You might be leaving the next day, depending on what kind of game it is and how many people are there.
I don't know. I feel like that's a little too tinfoil hat for me. That there's a bias against Clemson trying to increase the opportunity that they lose by scheduling their home games at noon and all their road games at night.
This sounds like something manufactured by someone with Clemson on the front of their name, Clemson Bob or Clemson Bo or Clemson
Tiger Mac.
Yeah, one of those guys. You know what? They don't like us. They don't want us to win, so they do this. It's conspiracy. Dadgum.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, let's keep the tinfoil hats on, shall we?
Dabo for president.
Let's keep the tinfoil hats on for just a moment. When we come back, was there a conspiracy against the Atlanta Braves to bounce them? I will answer that from my opinion, which is usually correct, when we come back. Rob, Lonzo, you. The Rob Brown Show is right here on the Fan Upstate.
My world.
All right, stream. Be right back. Don't go nowhere.
A ridiculous
Basketball season. It's basketball season.
37 and 16 in opening games, including 4 of their last 5. Thursday's opener at Philly sees the Bucks as plus 120 on the money line, and if history holds true, that is a very good value bet. I'm Trista Crick. Hope you do.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives.
Thank you for the message, Clemson GM.
And we're here for you and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions. Plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you ready to tackle your banking needs? Home Trust Bank's team of expert advisors and lenders want to be your teammate. We want to hear your story, learn your aspirations, and assist you with financial needs and provide options that are tailored to you. With a wide range of personal, mortgage, and commercial services, you will discover all your banking needs under one roof.
So what time is Dynamite on tonight? Are they putting it on
I do know
at
that.
8 o'clock also?
I would assume so. I haven't seen different times.
Because NXT has a ton of Raw and SmackDown talent coming down, including Kevin Owens,
Tonight, Halloween Havoc.
Rhea Ripley. No, I don't think it is.
Okay.
I think that's next week. Yeah, a bunch of people are coming down. People don't talk about Danny that much anymore. That's why I'm wearing it. Wearing it as much as I can. I'm not going to be like some people and burn their clothes after a player leaves their team. Pay good money for this. It might go into the yard rotation, but I'm still going to keep it.
The yard rotation.
Got to have a yard rotation.
I've got a yard rotation.
Some would say how I dress is already a yard rotation, but you know, it's radio. Did you do the 3-hour show in a tie? That'd be
Would
rough.
I?
I
was getting paid enough for it.
Yeah, that'd be rough.
I wouldn't enjoy it.
Me either. I'd look good, but you know, I wouldn't enjoy it.
I don't understand ties.
Me
Why
either.
is it that we are still tying colored fabric around our neck?
I don't get it either.
All right. Let's keep the tinfoil hats on for just a moment, shall we? The Atlanta Braves were the defending World Series champions. I say, well, they still are technically, although they are just now the World Series champions because they're not defending anymore. They got bounced by the Phillies. The Phillies came to Atlanta. The Phillies took one of the first 2 in the ATL. Then they went back to Philly and beat the Bravos back-to-back on the road in the city of brotherly love, the most inappropriately named city in all of America, as there is no such thing as love in Philadelphia. I've been there. The people are jerks and proud of it. Here's my question. And I absolutely know that this is sour grapes, or at least it's going to sound like it. I don't think it's meant to be, but it's going to sound like it. The Braves during the regular season, and my guy Joey B popped up in the Facebook chat to point this out, and correctly so. The Braves played a lot of day games. They played 51 day games this year. In those day games, the Braves were 24-27, sub 500 by a couple of games. 24-27. In the playoffs, the Braves played all day games, or was scheduled to. The only game that the Braves won against the Phillies was a day game that got rained into a night game. It was what, last Wednesday, I think? Yeah, last Wednesday. The Braves were slotted for a 4:05, 4:15, whatever, first pitch. Day game. And then the rain started moving through the ATL. They had to bump it. That game went first pitch about 7 p.m., and it turned into a night game. The Braves won it. Now, I understand and agree with the argument that's going to come out front, which is, hey, if you're a World Series team, it shouldn't matter whether the sun is out or not, right? But every team's got their thing. Every team's got their quirk. For whatever reason, Atlanta's just not a good place to play for the Bravos in the daytime. They lose day games, 24-27. MLB took the defending World Series champions. And I'm not going to, although I could easily make the argument. You know, I heard Mark Ryan railing about this last week, and it kind of made me laugh a little bit. But he was going on and on and on about how he couldn't understand why the Braves are have the largest regional fan base of any Major League Baseball team, right? The Braves are to Major League Baseball as what the Yankees are, just in the South instead of the North, right? Last year when the Braves would play at the DC Nationals, you would see a lot of Braves red and blue in the stands in DC. You can take the Braves to any part of the country and you will see Braves fans show up. They are nationally recognized as a brand. And certainly so around the Southeast, right? Because before the Marlins, before the Rays, there were the Braves. And that's what you got. How many of y'all were like me? How many of y'all would run home after school or run home after work and pop on TBS because the Braves were playing? And everybody got TBS and the Braves were on, of course. My little brother is a Cubs fan. I assume because my mother dumped him on his head as a child. And with WGN, for whatever reason, also widely available across the Southeast, when the Braves and Cubbies played at the same time, it would be a race between Rob and Sean to see who could get to the house first, who could get the remote to the upstairs TV first, and who could click on TBS or WGN first to watch their team. The Braves were the team of the Southeast. And it earned them, as folks from the Southeast began to move to other parts of the country, it earned them a national bump in recognition, right? So the Braves, with, I would argue, probably the third largest Major League Baseball national audience behind only the Yankees and the Red Sox. And honestly, I think the Braves compete with the Red Sox there. But with, at worst, the third largest national audience in the country, why was every single Braves playoff game scheduled between 1 and 4 in the afternoon? Why? When they were 24-27. Now, I'm going to throw the answer that you're going to get from Major League Baseball at you, right? Here was the answer. The answer is because the Yankees have the largest national audience, so you want them in primetime. And the other teams on the National League side, San Diego and Los Angeles, are on the left coast. To have San Diego and LA play at 1 or 4 in the afternoon, you would have been starting them at like 10 in the morning, left coast time, right? And they're not about to let you do that. They're not going to let you have that. You're not going to play a baseball game on the West Coast between a 111-win team and their divisional rivals at 10 o'clock in the morning on a weekday. But my question is, if you're so against having the Dodgers and the Padres play in the daytime, why is it okay that the Braves do, right? the best argument that Major League Baseball has about it has a gaping hole in it. Well, we didn't want to have the Dodgers and the Padres play earlier. So then why are they playing at the same time as Atlanta? Right? Why is it okay for the Braves to start at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time and not just bump the Dodgers early for a couple of games and flip them up? And why did the Yankees, a definitely not 100-win team like the Braves and the Dodgers, why did the Yankees get all primetime games when the Dodgers had to play late and the Braves had to play early? Why? There are a lot of Braves fans. The one thing that I love when I hear conspiracy theorists is to go deep dive and to find the answers that they don't have and create a situation where they have to defend their conspiracy in the face of evidence that they're wrong simply with I just believe it. Because cool, I can dismiss I just believe. I can dismiss that. Rob, why don't you think there's a Bigfoot? Why do you think there's a Bigfoot? I just believe. All right, well, that's not good enough for me. I don't accept your belief.
We missed that festival. It was last week.
I know. I learned about it Monday. What the hell, man? Nobody told me there's a Bigfoot Fest. I would have absolutely gone to Bigfoot Fest.
Next time.
Next year, we're going to Bigfoot Fest.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and warn the entire fan upstate nation right now. The fan nation that next year, I'm hitting Bigfoot Fest, whoever wants to come with me.
Oh, I definitely want to go, for sure.
I want to get an X-Files shirt that says I want to believe and cross out the want to and write don't on it and see how that goes.
I've always wanted to go, but no one ever will go, yeah, I'll go.
I will absolutely go to Bigfoot Fest.
I know you will. That's why I'm saying it.
James said everyone will be there except Bigfoot. Correct, because he doesn't exist.
I was told Saturday that that Bigfoot was at one of the concerts, I believe, but he left a little early.
Hey, Bigfoot, what are you doing here?
I don't know how to shoot free throws.
That's just Shaq, y'all. That's just Shaq. Relax. All right, so look, I will go to Bigfoot Fest, and I will wear a shirt that says I don't believe in Bigfoot on it and see what happens. My favorite part, I read an interview about it from a guy that owns a restaurant in the town. Forget the name of the town, but it's like 40 minutes away from here, I think. Forget the name of the town. But they did the local either TV station or paper did an interview with the guy, and they straight up asked him, they're like, do you believe in Bigfoot? Do you believe in Bigfoot? And the guy responded, nope, but I believe in the money he brings to this town.
There you go.
He's like, I will straight up bank on you suckers. No problem.
So we go next year and they actually have a hunt. Are you willing to go out
Hell
on the
yeah.
hunt? Okay. All right.
A camping trip? Yes, I love camping. I will gladly go camp while you nerds run around in the bushes with your little made-up scientific devices. I'm all in for that. I love two things, camping and laughing at stupid people. Let's go. I'm in. Let's do it. You believe in Bigfoot, you're not stupid. You go wandering around in the woods for days at a time looking for him, we need to have a chat. All right? We need to have a chat.
I just posted a story, I think this morning or yesterday, about they found a forest in a sinkhole. If you can find a forest in a sinkhole, Bigfoot can exist somewhere.
Right. But
they're speculating that there'll be new species of animals within the
forest in
sinkhole.
a sinkhole, they can go, look, there it is. There's the forest in a sinkhole.
Yeah, but they just now discovered it.
Right. But nobody claimed it existed before that. That's the difference. When you find a Bigfoot, I'm all in. All right, I'm not doing Bigfoot. It's a sports show.
You just did. You're right.
I know that. I realize my mistake.
Big game hunting is a sport, and if you
but I know the deer exist.
If you bag
I know boars are out there. I can go find them.
If you bag a Bigfoot, you'll be famous forever.
Correct. You will also have bagged an imaginary creature. All right. Anyway, I'm not doing Bigfoot anymore. Go back to the Braves, please. Can I go back to baseball?
You're the
please?
one who brought up Bigfoot.
I am not. You brought up the Bigfoot.
No.
I was using an example.
Okay. Well.
All right. So the Braves fans, because Conspiracies are fun for me because there's not much more that I love than dumping data on somebody that immediately disrupts their conspiracy theory and watching them flounder. It's fun for me.
I have
jackass.
a non-conspiracy thing to say. The Braves lost the games because they weren't good enough. Look forward to next year.
Do you believe, though, that like a team can have one uncontrollable factor that impacts them? Like one thing there's nothing they can do about.
You mean something in their head or
Yeah.
something? Yeah, I mean, you and I both know we get something in our head, we cannot get it out.
Yeah.
So it's possible, but how rare is it for that sort of thing to maybe through osmosis or whatever to be an entire team feeling the same way about something like
Right,
that?
and that's my question, right? Like maybe it is in their head, but something rattling around in your brain is real. Even if the thing that you're worried about isn't real, when it gets into your noggin and it impacts you, it is real. I'm not saying that's what happened to the Braves. I am saying they were 24-27 during the daytime and had a much higher win percentage at night. That is empirically true. I'm not saying why it is that way. I'm not saying something or what that something is that caused that. I'm saying it is empirically true that they, during the daytime, were a sub 500 ball club and at night won at like a 75% clip, right? I am saying that. So, once again, the question to Major League Baseball is going to be, hey, why is it that the Dodgers got every night game, the Yankees got every primetime game, and the Astros, Mariners, and Braves, Phillies were always on during the day, even if it went to a game 5? Why? Why is that? They're going to tell you because the Dodgers are on the left coast and we can't start that at 10 a.m. And that's fair. But my question is, honestly, what is the difference between starting a baseball game at 10 a.m. and 1 p.m.? What's the difference? Right? What are those 3 hours of difference? Why is it not okay to start Dodgers Padres at 10:30, but it's okay to start the Braves at 1? For the entire playoff series. Why not? You got 4 series to play, right? 2 on the NL side, 2 on the AL side. Why not rotate them through? On opening day when all 4 play, the 2 teams that play early on the opening day, which, by the way, I don't understand why you can't just schedule 2 baseball games at the same time, right? Lonzo, how many screens you got in the man cave right now?
In one room?
Yeah.
4 maybe?
Yeah.
It could be more if I want.
When you add my laptops, my tablets, and my phone, I can get up to 7 screens in my man cave. If I want to watch 2 games, I could watch both games in Spanish, and both games from alternate windows, and still be able to tweet on the phone. It is 2022 baseball. Is this a conspiracy against the Braves? No. I'll tell you why it's not a conspiracy against the Braves. It's not a conspiracy against the Braves because you can just chalk it up to Major League Baseball's management being dumb. That's it. They looked at it on the most simple of terms. We don't want to play 2 games back to back or concurrent with each other because people won't watch. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. It's a dumb argument. Yes, they will. Everybody who cares has more than one screen available. All right, we all got a cell phone. Well, we don't want to have the Dodgers start at 10 a.m. All right, well, then why are the Braves starting at 1 p.m.? Is that 3 hours of difference really that massive? Well, the Yankees have the biggest audience. Okay, well, the Braves are like barely behind that, right? Why is that not a thing? None of their arguments hold water if you just think about it for a second. It's not a conspiracy against Atlanta and the Braves. It is just that Major League Baseball's management is dumb. That's all. That's all it is to it. Don't chalk up to malfeasance that which can be explained by stupidity. Most people aren't doing something because they're evil. They're doing something because they're dumb. And baseball's the ultimate example of that. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate.
Warehouse.
All right, stream got to read. Don't go nowhere. Be right back.
Visit yours today or make an appointment online at www.eaglesmarkets.com.
Without the ones like you who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants can all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Granger, we're here for you 24/7 with supplies and solutions for every industry and access to product specialists ready to help. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Ray Mariotti here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You teach your kid how to parallel park. Ouch. Turns out place to do it by feet. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Scroll up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
That's the sound of a crack in the ceiling found at a home inspection. But with a realtor by your side, a newfound leak might only cause minor worries. With their expertise, a realtor can suggest a credit at closing and even connect you to a contractor to help you shore up that leak and alleviate your worries. When it comes to cracks in your plans, the expertise of a realtor can make all the difference. The difference between an agent and a realtor is who you are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
I used to get frequent heartburn at night, so I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine.
One pill in the morning, 24 hours, zero heartburn with Prilosec OTC.
If possible, take Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
More than the scores. Real sports talk for real sports fans.
All right, wrapping up the second hour of the Rob Brown Show. Be a part of it, 844-FAN phone, 844-326-3663. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. Coming up to open up the next hour of the show, we'll take a look back at the NFL weekend that was, now that Monday Night Football is in the books. And I won't spend a ton of time on this. What the hell happened to Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson got paid buku dinero from the Denver Broncos, and he has, if I may be bold, sucked this year. Like bad.
He is, who I said he was from the beginning.
Yeah, but like how, I mean, was Seattle covering him up that much?
I always thought they did. I thought he got a little bit extra because of how good the defense was. You have Marshawn Lynch in the backfield. I mean, there are a lot of things that can make an average to lower average quarterback look great.
I don't disagree, but they covered my dude up for like 12 seasons. If that is correct, if this is the Russell Wilson that Russell Wilson's always been, then the Seattle Seahawks deserve like a supplemental Super Bowl trophy, because if they covered this up for that long, my goodness.
Who took all the heat when Seattle was bad? The coach.
Yeah.
Because people didn't want to blame it on the quarterback. So they blamed it on the coach. He's holding the team back. He's dismantled it. He did, all these different things, and maybe it wasn't him.
I don't know, man. Last night, I counted 3, maybe 4 different plays where Russ had a dude wide, butt naked open and just missed him. Just flat out missed him. There was a post I saw on social earlier today that there was a dude, and I forget who it was. I want to say it was an NFL Net guy, who was like, is Russell Wilson actually blind? Like legally blind? And they posted like 4 pictures of Russell Wilson looking left with Bronco receivers wide open, like 20 yards wide open on the other side of the field or across the middle, and Russ was just not looking at him. Man, I don't expect perfection out of my quarterback unless I'm paying them $250 million. And then I kind of do. What is going on with Russell Wilson? That's terrible, man. All right, let's take a look back at the NFL weekend that was when we come back. Then it's Tuesday, and you know what that means. Time for Faces and Heels, where we take a look at some socially ambiguous situation, try to figure out who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. That and Twitter trending topics. And maybe we can fit in some sports talk on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Sunday triple headers, Monday and Thursday night football. You get it all on one station. The Fan Upstate. 97.7 Greenville, 97.1 Spartanburg, and on the free Odyssey app. The NFL plays on the Fan Upstate.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports. At Ingalls, we know the ever-present struggle of what are we going to make for dinner this week. That's why we started the Ingalls Table. It's a website that brings the best chefs and food experts right into your kitchen. You can sort through hundreds of recipes for every occasion, watch how-to videos, and print shopping lists to take to the store. It's all waiting for you at Ingalls-Markets.com. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
Founders knows you must use your best money-saving strategies to reach your full financial potential, including finding the best interest rates on your credit cards. In our current economy, you've got to make every dollar count. That's why Founders offers low balance transfer rates on all their credit cards. Get the most out of your credit card. Visit foundersfcu.com/cc to apply and save today. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualifications required. Federally insured by NCUA.
Have you heard the Rob Brown Show?
Paul Munson joining us here on the Rob Brown Show, the Van Upstate, talking about a little Clemson Tiger football. We had DJ on yesterday, and we've had multiple players on from Clemson over the past couple of years. One thing that always seems to come up is that family concept. And in my brief stint of coming up on 2.5 years here, I don't know that I have seen players buy into that as much as I've seen Clemson guys buy into that as we are part of something bigger. This Clemson family that you're talking about, it's real on campus. And again, it started when Dabo took over midway through the 08 season. Somebody asked me here yesterday, what's your favorite Dabo is? To this day, it's still the all-in concept that we have. Because that all-in concept, it reverberated among the football team, and then it started reverberating actually across campus. And then it reverberated in the fan base, and it's kept on rippling out.
Same great show, new time. Rob Brown Show. Now nice and noon, only on the Fan Upstate.
Gas, groceries, vacations, most everything seems to have increased in cost these days. At My Affordable Braces, we believe that everyone should be able to afford and a beautiful smile without breaking the bank. My Affordable Braces has been offering braces starting at $39.95 for years. New technology needs fewer visits. Save even more with insurance plans like MetLife and Delta Dental. Schedule your free consultation, exam, and x-rays today at a clinic near you. Greenville, Spartanburg, and Anderson. MyAffordableBraces.com.
That World Haunted Attraction is now open. Come experience South Carolina's #1 haunted attraction. Located in Piedmont off I-85, exit 35. Buy tickets now at worldattractions.com.
Now CBS Sports Radio.
Upstate. Here's how to get in the game. On your radio at 97.7 FM, 1330 AM, Greenville, 97.1 FM, 950 AM, Spartanburg.
Listen on your phone. Download the Odyssey app and search the Fan Upstate.
There's a whole lot more to know about sound if you really want to go into the subject.
Your smart speaker. Just say play 97 The Fan Upstate. On your HD radio at WFBC HD3. Let's just one more time. And on your computer at the Fan
Upstate.
founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com and Appliance and HVAC Part Solution Company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into key markets.
Harley in the first break.
HVAC and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget.
10-4.
AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773 Network. That's AmericanEagle.com 773 Network.
WORD Spotlight.
The official sports voice of the Upstate Band.
And check this out.
For an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents me to win. Yeah.
Sports Talk, manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show.
The Fan Upstate.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour. The Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rob Brown. His name is Lonzo Reitzel. We're getting through this thing, man. 1 minute at a time. There are like 54 of them left to go. Then Lonzo is going to crawl under their desk and take a nap, I think, maybe, possibly.
Nah,
Probably.
I have too much work to do. Plus, the office is more cozy.
Fair enough. The fortress of nerditude is there for a reason. All right, folks. Third hour of the show. A lot of stuff to get into. A lot of stuff to talk about. Let's have a little fun, shall we? Let's have a little fun in this hour of the show. I wanted to go back first and foremost and look at the weekend that was in National Football League football, because this football season has been wild. Has been wild. And the standings reflect that. There is one 5-win team in the AFC. That team is Josh Allen, and it's Buffalo Bills. They are 5-1. But there are a few 4-win teams that are chasing them down. The Jets are one of... I'm sorry, I may have... The Jets are one of the 4-win teams. The Jets are in second place in the AFC East right now at 4-2. Do you know where they would be in any other division right now? Any other AFC division, the Jets would be winning that division right now. The Chiefs and Chargers, courtesy of last night's win on Monday Night Football. One more reason for Zoe to appreciate Russell the Hustle Wilson. The Chiefs and Chargers are both 4-2. The Ravens are 3-3, and so are the Bengals. And frankly, if I may be so bold, the Bengals got bailed out of being 2-4 this weekend. Got bailed out of falling to 2-4 this weekend at New Orleans. But alas, the records are what the records are. They are 3-3, so are the Ravens, and that's a tie for the divisional league. And both of those teams are only one game ahead of the 2-4 Browns and 2-4 Steelers. And the AFC South is a mess. Lonzo has a team that was ready to compete for a Super Bowl ever had such a quickly opened and shut Super Bowl window as the Tennessee Titans? Like Tannehill's first year, when King Henry I was going bananas at the running back spot, the Titans look like a genuine Super Bowl contender, and now they look like a mess that if they were in any other division, they would be 1-4.
Yeah, I don't know if it's maybe people have figured out how to stop King Henry. I mean, that's the only thing I can figure out, and put it in Tannehill's hands, and actually everything went downhill when they let Mariota go to Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Titans right now, they lost to the Giants by a point to open the year. The Giants 4-1. It's not terrible. The Bills smoked them 41-7. They won by 2 against the bad Raiders team. They won by a single touchdown against a bad Colts team. And they won by 4 against a bad Washington team. Now, both the Colts and Washington games were on the road. Now, coming up off the bye this weekend, the Colts come to Tennessee. Then they're at Texans. Then they're at Kansas City. Kansas City minus 12.5 in that one. 13.5, make it a nice round 2 score game. I mean, the Tennessee Titans for a hot minute there looked like they were going to be, something else. Looked like they were going to be something else, and they are something else. They were a team ready to contend, and they are now a team that is barely scraping by bad football teams and losing to good ones. That window shut quickly. Over on the NFC side of things right now, your clear-cut leader is the Philadelphia Eagles. They're 6-0. And here's the thing about the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Lonzo, they have got to be, outside of Jalen Hurts, one of the most non-star-studded all-star teams of all time, right? 6-0. And I'd be willing to bet that if we walked around downtown and asked 20 people to name me an Eagle besides Jalen Hurts, a lot of them couldn't do it.
I don't know. There's a pretty big population of Philly people here, so you might find a couple.
I know. I met one at Fall for Greenville in his old school Randall Cunningham jersey, whose interaction with me started with me talking to Mikey from Queens, the Jets fan, followed by this dude walking over, turning around backwards, hitting the RVD on us to show us the Cunningham jersey. Mikey from Queens goes, "This is my boy Rob. You should listen to his show." And the guy goes, "Okay," and walks off. Philly fans are the worst.
By the way, James on the stream says, "Yo,
the Birds, man." Hey, I'm not mad at him. The seductive voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, Mark Shelley, who will be joining us later in this week. As ladies and gentlemen, it's hockey season. The Bits get their season started this Saturday. Shelley is a Birds guy. And he's losing his mind over his Birds right now, which is...
Yeah, but I think a lot of people are waiting. They just don't believe it's real. You know, yeah, they're undefeated, but it's just a matter of time because there was a concerted effort to say that Jalen Hurts was not the guy.
Oh, there was.
And every year, he's not the guy. They're looking forward to seeing if this is a prove it year, or they're going to have to go into the draft or free agency. And he's been pretty good every year.
He's been pretty good. Certainly been good this year. Now, let's say this. They beat the Lions by 3. The Vikings don't look bad. But the Vikings do this crap every year, right? The Vikings do this crap every year where they go all season long convincing you they're a contender, and then they just fall apart at the end of the year. Not before they stab Rob Saints in the heart, but they do this crap every year. They beat the Commanders, the Jaguars, and the Cardinals in the middle. And in fairness, they did walk off the Cowboys pretty convincingly, and the Cowboys ain't exactly trash at 4-2 either. There are a few teams that I'm kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, so to speak. The New York Football Giants are one of them. Why does it feel to me, Zoe, like the Giants are overperforming? By the way,
the look of surprise on their coach's face every time they show him after a victory.
Yeah.
He's just like, I can't believe we did it again.
We what now? We did what now? We did what now? Why? I feel like there's another side of the story for the New York Giants. They beat the Titans, they beat the Panthers, they lost to the boys, they beat the Bears, and they beat the Packers and the Ravens. Turns out, beating the Packers ain't that big a deal. Turns out, they really haven't beat anybody else worth talking about. The Titans ain't good. The Panthers are bad. They lost to the Cowboys. The Bears are bad. The Packers are bad. The Ravens is the best win the Giants have. And don't get me wrong, that's a great win. That's a great win over Baltimore. Now they've got, dig the next four, Zoe. At Jacksonville, at Seattle, back home for Houston and Detroit. The New York Giants are about to go 9-1 and then miss the playoffs.
Well, probably a year or two ago, all those teams would be looking at the Giants as
their fodder.
That's a win right there. And now it's just the opposite. But man, wouldn't you love to have your team have that schedule?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, they've run the gauntlet of bad teams. Then they're at the Cowboys. Then they got the Commanders. They will be 10-1 or 9-2. No, sorry, 11-1 or 9-2 at that point.
So Dallas is the only decent team they have left.
No, because then they got the Eagles, the Vikings, and the Eagles again to wrap it up.
Okay, I didn't.
This team, I don't know, because I see a lot of people talking about this team like, oh, the other shoe's going to drop, right? The Giants aren't that good. The other shoe is going to drop on Danny Dimes and Brian Daboll at some point. But then I look down the schedule and I'm like, yo, the G-Men might have the easiest schedule in the league right now with the exception of Dallas twice and Philly twice.
Yeah, they could lose 4 games near the end of the season and still get a wild card.
Yeah, I mean, they can't – well, I'm not going to say they can't win the division because obviously – one injury or one bad game can change anything for Philly just like it can for New York. But this team,
if you lose to Philly twice and lose to Dallas, then you're not winning it. So
that's what I'm saying. Like I don't think they win the division because I do think the Birds are that good. This team realistically could end up at 13-4, 14-3, and catch a wild card. Could you imagine being a 14-win wild card team? Ugh.
And go up against possibly a division winner with a losing record.
Yeah.
Like go up against the NFC South, which, could happen.
Somebody's going to walk out of the NFC South with a crown and a 500 record. Because Brady's checked out. By the way, Andy Dalton hurt his back in the loss to Cincinnati. So now the Saints are down to
he's got to look. That's not good that he has to look.
Hold please. The Saints are down to Taysom Hill as their starting QB.
Yeah, but still, I mean, Taysom's pretty good.
I mean, as backup quarterbacks,
yeah,
you can do worse.
I mean, because he can do everything.
But it actually does hurt a little bit. You know why? Because you take him out of what you've been doing with him the last 3 weeks.
You lose him on special teams.
You lose him as a gadget
else.
player.
Yeah.
That's right. You lose him as a gadget player. Even if you run him as a quarterback, you lose him as a gadget player. You lose him as a switch him and Andy Dalton, run Andy out to the wide receiver spot. And now all of a sudden the defense was set up in a dime package and they got number 7 running at him. Blah, blah, blah. We're not talking about the Saints yet. Point is, these G-men, I don't know how I feel about them. There's part of me that goes, this team could finish 14-3. There's a part of me that goes, this team could finish 10-7. And I don't know which one's real yet. I don't know which one is real yet. You got the Cowboys at 4-2. I don't know what the Cowboys are either, right? I don't know what the Cowboys are either yet. The Cowboys caught the L against Philly, but they beat the Rams convincingly. They beat the Commanders convincingly. They are the lone setback for the Giants. They beat the Cincinnati Bengals, so they beat both of last year's Super Bowl competitors. The only L they have is back in week 1 against Tampa Bay, and that was before Tom Brady's life hit the boat and fell apart, as have the Bucs. I don't know what Dallas is either. I mean, they look like a good team. Like they look like a good team. But I'm not convinced that they are yet. It is Dallas. They do this every year. The entire NFC West and NFC South combined, none of those 8 teams are above 500. None of them. 2 entire divisions. Half of the NFC's divisions do not have a plus 500 team. Now, in fairness, the entire NFC West, with the exception of Arizona, is 3-3. Zona's 2-4. And just added Robbie Anderson. Zona, by the way, very much could be 3-3 as well. The Niners, Rams, and Seahawks are all 3-3. The Arizona Cardinals are 2-4. In the NFC South, the Bucks and Falcons are 3-3. The Saints are 2-4. Again, to be the homer, should be 3-3. And the Panthers are 1-5. The NFC is a mess right now. There's the NFC East and then everybody else. It's a mess. In fact, I said between the West and the South, there's 8 teams that are 500 or below, Lonzo. If you add in the NFC North, that is 12 teams. One of them is above 500. The only team between the NFC West, North, and South, the only team above 500 is the 5-1 Vikings. And as I told you a minute ago, the Vikings do this all the time. I was playing in the softball game Saturday, and there were 2 guys on the team that have played professional softball that have played in different parts of the country. And 2 of the dudes, one of them lives here in Greenville, said he's a big Minnesota sports guy. He's from Minnesota. He's a big Minnesota sports guy. And I'm like, yo, your Vikings look good, dude. Vikings look good. He goes, no, I'm not doing it. I said, you're not doing what? Said, I'm not getting my hopes up because they do this crap every year. They run up a good record. They get us to believe, and then they blow it. And I'm not buying the hype. So if you don't believe the hype in the Vikings right now, that is 3 divisions in the NFC with 1 team above 500, and the 1 team above 500, nobody believes in, including their own fans. What an amazing year in the National Football Conference. Who's your pick out of the NFC right now, Zoe? Is it Philly? I feel like that's the easy pick.
I don't know if I can do that. I really don't. And I think it requires some thought. That's a shame because I can pick 2 or 3 teams out of the AFC.
Yep.
But the NFC, no. I can't believe in Minnesota. They haven't done anything to prove that they're that team. Wow.
I think you're almost the Eagles by default.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like the Eagles, not because it's like, oh, it's the Eagles, but like, oh, it's the rest of the NFC. Who else? The Giants are 5-1. I don't believe in them yet. Sorry, Chris Lewis. I love you, dog. The Vikings are 5-1. I believe in them less than the Giants. It's like the Eagles by default are my NFC pick right now.
Remember when the NFC West, like last year and a couple years before, was
damn good.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, and now they're not so much.
The NFC West was what the NFC East is this year.
Yeah.
Everybody was good. Now they're the most average division in football. Everybody's 3-3 except Kyler Murray, who's 2-4.
I really don't know. So yeah, I guess by default you got to go with Philly.
You got to go by Philly because, I mean, again, like if you said the Giants, I would accept it. They're 5-1. I wouldn't accept Minnesota. I don't believe in Minnesota.
Is there a team in the NFC right now that can compete against the top 2 or 3 teams in the AFC?
I think the Eagles can compete, but I would pick the Chiefs over them. I would pick the Bills over them. If I'm power ranking those teams, you know what? This is what we're going to do tomorrow. We're going to power rank all 32 teams tomorrow. I don't do that very often. I'll do it tomorrow.
No, we can do it.
We might do it on the air. We might do this game team by team on the air, like make up the rankings on the air. We'll see. I don't know how I feel about it. But if I'm power ranking it, my top 3 are going to be, and I'm talking about like putting them in a tournament, who beats who, right? Who beats who? My top 3 are going to be Philly, Kansas City, Buffalo. 3-2-1. Because who else in the NFC do I put in there? I got nobody. I'll accept the Giants at 5-1, but go split with Philly before I believe with you. Let's take a break. When we come back, it's Tuesday. You know what that means. Time for Alonzo's favorite segment of the week. It's time for Faces and Heels, where we took a look at some socially ambiguous situations and try to determine who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, who's the face, who's the heel. That is next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Out State. All right, stream, stick around. Be right back. All right, we back.
Sean Ezel entered the mortgage business in 2001 after leaving the Marines. He felt that local veterans and people in the upstate weren't getting the service they deserved when it came to buying a home.
Tyler says, I will go straight bet with you on Seahawks versus Giants in Seattle. You are calling Giants 9-1. I will bet that too. So you want to, just let me get this right. You want to bet the Seahawks straight up over the Giants on the 30th. Tell you what, let them get by TL16 this week. Let them get by TL16 this week, Tyler. And if they don't lose to Jacksonville, I will take that bet. I will throw a beer bet or lunch bet down on that with you. 100%. Absolutely will. Hit me back next week. If the Giants win this week, I accept that bet.
It's not because people don't like you, man. You know, it's not because people don't want to give you a chance. It's because you suck. You know? You suck. I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy.
All right, time for Faces and Heels, where we take a look at some socially ambiguous situations, try to find out who the good guy, who the bad guy, who is the face, who is the heel. This one's really interesting, Zoe. This one's really interesting. Married couple in their mid-40s. Their daughter is 20 years old. They invested in her future when she was growing up. They started a college fund for her. They said, this money is for you to go to college. If you go to college on a scholarship, the money is yours. If you do not go on a scholarship, then the money will be used to pay your tuition and books. But that is all it is for. You earn a full ride scholarship, you get the tens of thousands we've tucked away. It's just yours. You don't own a scholarship, this money is to be used only for college, for room and board, right? Well, the 20-year-old girl went to college for a year, decided to take a year off, right? Now, she went on a partial scholarship, right? Partial scholarship. So they took out of the money up front. They took up out of the money up front enough to pay the room and board, and they put the rest away for, right? They're like, we're hanging on to it. When you need it, you let us know. Well, after a year, she spent a little bit of the money. The rest of it was kept away. Not from her, just like in a savings account, you know, roll a little money on top of it. After a year, the mom says she met a boyfriend while she was in college. She said the daughter, after the year off of college, decided she did not want to go back, right? She was done with college and became an employee / manager at her boyfriend's family's restaurante. Well, she did that for a year, and then she decided she wanted to go back to college. But since she had told mom and pops, I'm done with college, I'm not going back to college, they took the $30,000 that was still left in her college fund and spent it upgrading their house, put in a new kitchen, put in a new master bedroom, redid their bathroom, redid their closet, just basically said, all right, we got $30K. That was supposed to pay for her college, but she ain't going to college, so we're spending it on the house. Well, a year later, daughter decides, hey, I screwed up. That boy talked me into coming to run his restaurant. He's been off partying and playing while I've been running his family's restaurant. I'm done with that. I want to go back to school. Hey, mom, hey, pops, where's my scholarship money? Where's my college fund? I'm ready to go back to school. And mom and pop said, hey, you told us you weren't going back to school. You said you were done with college, so we spent the money on the house. You're on your own now. Little daughter is very upset about it and said that you said that money was only for college tuition, but you spent it on yourself. Mom and dad said, you told us you weren't going to college anymore, and that's all we were going to use it for. It's not your money. It's ours. We were giving it to you for your tuition and room and board. Since you said you don't want to go anymore, we spent it on ourselves. Daughter's going, I want to go back to school, and I need that money to do it. Who's the face? Who's the heel here, Zoe?
Obviously the boyfriend.
Between the two parties involved. Correct answer. That is the correct answer. But between the two involved here.
It's the daughter. I mean, yeah, she forfeited the money when she said, I'm not going back to college. I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm not going back to college. Okay. We got some use for this money. Plus, the mom and dad earned the money in the first place. It was their money. And they put aside for her, but she decided she forfeited it. She's decided, nah, I'm done.
You know, this is probably one of the tougher ones I've done so far for me to come up with an opinion here, a verdict here. Because on one hand, the girl's 20 years old, right? I don't know about her. I, at 20 years old, was an idiot. I'm an idiot at 38. Imagine what I was at 20, right?
Think of the valuable lesson she just learned.
Right. I don't disagree with you, right? Because, listen, I went to school.
It's a $30,000 lesson.
$30,000 lesson. I get it. On the flip side, there's kind of a part of me that goes, you know, if you're mom and dad in this situation, you were real quick to blow through that money. I get it. It's your money.
It was a year.
Right.
How's
it's
that?
Your money.
How's that real quick? It's a year.
How many? Well, I don't know about you, Zoe. I can only speak for me. The number of times that I changed what I wanted to do and my life goals and plans between 18 and 25 is incalculable. I was going to be a high school teacher. I was going to be a basketball coach. I was going to be a scientist.
Yeah, I had no direction.
I
had no direction. I just worked at grocery stores trying to figure out what I needed to do, and they all went out of business, and you know that's how I ended up here. So,
I did a lot of different things, and I didn't know which one I wanted to do. Right, and one of them was considering not going to school and just getting into the trades. Right, like there are welders who make six figures. I was like, I can weld. Right, I can learn to weld. Go to technical school, cost you a quarter of the money, make 4 times as much.
So I went to school and had a bad time there, and then I had to spend a lot of time paying off what school was.
Sure.
And because of that, by the time I got that paid off, it's like I can't really go back to school. Then I ended up basically going to a trade school for this.
I think it would be an easy answer for me if mom and pops used that money for like necessary stuff, right? Like, hey, listen, we were saving that money despite the fact that we were struggling. But, you know, since you weren't going to school, we didn't want to struggle anymore. So we used that money for life stuff. But like you bought yourself a new bedroom. And again, it's your money to do with what you wish. But like you couldn't give her a year to decide if that's what she really wanted or not. Like a year, like a single year. You went like 8 months and you were like, nope, screw that. She made her choice. She's 20, dude. She can't legally buy a beer from the restaurant she works in. But you're like, she made her choice. Like, give her a minute.
Yeah, but this is about money. And, you know, I can only go from personal experience. My daughter left and came back a couple of times. We let our son live with us till he had enough money for a down payment for a house, which he did. And then he went and bought the house. It's a different circumstance for each child. But in this case, she took a year off. She said she didn't want to go back to school. It's not on them. It's on her.
Fair enough. All right. How about this one? Where's a good one I went? Okay, here you go. My 25-year-old brother, this is written by a 17-year-old. 17-year-old guy says, my 25-year-old brother is quite the golden child in our family and is, his words, not mine, worshipped by everyone in our house, including me. He always gets his way, and we let him get away with it. Over the past year, he's become increasingly entitled and always expects that his demands be fulfilled. When I first realized we were the ones enabling him, I started to say no to stuff which I found unreasonable. I even talked to my parents, but they think he is still a teen, and that's how he is, or at least they treat him that way. A few months back, my company laptop stopped working, and I had to buy a new laptop as my company said a new device won't be available for at least a month. My brother insisted I should buy a gaming laptop as they don't lag, and he suggested a model which was within my budget. He said he would play games on it an hour a day, which I did not mind. I received a new laptop from work, and approximately 3 weeks ago, my brother insists that I give him the gaming laptop I purchased. I said he can play with it like he's been doing, but it's not a gift. He kept on calling it his laptop to his friends, and now he plays 12 plus hours a day on an online game. I told him he needs to return my laptop, and I'll be password protecting it. He started yelling, calling me selfish, taking a gift back. I told him it was never his to begin with, and I'm not enabling him, but I also recognize that for a number of months, I let him play with the laptop every single day for hours and hours a day. Is this individual a face for allowing the brother to make this laptop part of his everyday existence and then without warning saying, no, it's mine. I never said you could have it? Or is the brother wrong for expecting that, hey, just because you let me use it, it's mine now?
I think we've all been in situations where we let someone borrow something and they never bring it back, or you let someone use something and never, especially if you have neighbors. That kind of stuff happens all the time. In this case, I almost want to say it's the brother who had to purchase the laptop is the heel, because the entire circumstance he talks about how that brother's enabled. So you just enabled him again by allowing him to play on that laptop. You let him influence what you bought, knowing that the reason why he was influencing you is because he knew that he'd get to use it and possibly even get to keep it eventually. So I'm gonna say it's the 17-year-old is the heel.
I am going to say the older brother is the heel, without a doubt. Not because of the usage of the laptop or being upset that they have built this life around this laptop and are mad it's getting taken back, but because of the manipulation tactics to get a younger brother to buy the laptop, right? To get younger brother to buy the laptop and go, oh, you need this gaming one because it doesn't lag. That'll be good for your business. Now, you know what you're doing. You're manipulating them. That's all. Stop. All right, last one. Lady is writing saying, my husband took our 7-year-old son on a ski trip with his friends, the husband's friends. A few days before they were supposed to come home, he told me that he had to go to Paris for a business meeting. This isn't unconventional. He travels internationally for his job. That's why they can afford ski trips. Said that I was at home. They were in Denver. Not exactly a short trip, a short flight back to the house. He told me that he was going to put our son on a flight, fly him home. I needed to pick him up from the airport so that he could go straight to Paris for this work event. I said, no, I'm not letting my 7-year-old son fly across the country by himself. If you need to send him home to go to Paris, then route a flight through our town, drop him off, and then get on another one out. He said there are no flights that would get me to Paris in time. He said the only option is to put him on a plane and send him back home to you. You'll have to get him from the airport. I'll make sure that the airline knows it's a kid, a minor flying alone. I'll have him sitting first class. Like, he'll be taken care of until you get him from the airport. She said, absolutely not. I'm not okay with this. I'm not letting this happen. So the dad, knowing the mom wasn't okay with it, packed the kid up and brought him to Paris with him. Brought him to Paris. Took him to Paris. It was a work remote. Said that got hired like a daycare center to watch the kid for a day while he went to the one business meeting, and then spent a week in Paris, just like letting the kid experience Paris. Kid 7, right? Letting him experience Paris. Mom is now furious. She's like, he should have either taken me with them or flown the kid home and then gone to Paris. This is messed up. Dad's like, hey, you didn't want to pick him up from the airport. You didn't want him to fly alone. So he didn't fly alone. He flew with me to Paris. Who is the unreasonable heel in this?
All right, my first thought's the kid for being 7 years old. But
What a jerk.
yeah, I know. How dare he? But I love what the dad did, except for one thing. He put him in a strange daycare that there's no way you can vet that daycare, no way you can know how reputable that daycare is, and they probably don't speak English, and you put your kid in that daycare. That makes him the heel to me. What he did with the kid staying in Paris and all that was
That's awesome.
No, but that was against the mom. That's all that
100%.
was. That was. That's
100%.
that's vengeful.
I'm sure my dude was like Instagramming his boy up on top of the Eiffel Tower, rolling around the shopping districts of Grand Paris.
But
that was passive aggressive at its finest.
It was, but you don't take a kid to a foreign country and just leave them at a daycare where, again, they probably don't speak English.
You know, I am, and it's funny you say that because I realized I was doing something that I didn't know I was doing, and it's a bias I need to be careful about. I was making an assumption here that like Pops either vetted out the daycare or like the daycare was at the hotel. Cause I've been places before that have kids centers in the hotel so that folks traveling for business can like leave their kids in the hotel with hotel workers that they, you can trust they're at the hotel. They're not going anywhere. I just worked on the assumption that dad would have vetted this place out and it would have been like at the hotel or like it would have been a bilingual facility. Because in Paris, like most Parisians, most French people also speak English. Like most of them get taught to speak English in school because English is primarily the language of the business world for the most part. Most people in Paris speak English. So I assume that he would have checked like, are you guys bilingual? Can you communicate with my child? Whatever.
When would he have had time for all that?
Again, that's what I'm saying. I gave benefit of the doubt on this. If he did that, hilariously awesome move because he listened to the mom's instructions point blank. She said he does not fly alone. You either take him to Paris or you drop him off here, fly with him, and then go somewhere. He said, I can't do that, so I'm taking him to Paris. Just because Madre got left out of the Paris trip, she's all upset about it. That's all there is to it. Dad's the face here. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Dad's the face.
Yeah, I just can't do it because of the daycare. If the daycare wasn't involved, if he took the kid to the business meeting with him,
no doubter.
No doubter.
I like it. All right, kids, let's take a break. We'll come back. Got a few more thoughts, and then Twitter trending topics going to wrap it all up. My name is Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo's on the other side of the glass. You're listening to the Rob Brown Show. You're listening to the Fan Upstate. Whoever called in on Zoe yesterday is the heel.
I'm not going to throw that person under the bus. I'm more upset with the people who were unable to come in because they had plans.
Robbie Anderson to the Cardinals. After Sunday's game, Anderson said he wasn't happy about being taken out of the game on a third down play. Following that, he was sent to the locker room by the coaching staff. Catch every Carolina Panthers game live on Classic Rock 101.1. Download the Odyssey app and search the Fan Upstate and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders, and that's your Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the Fan
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
from the free Odyssey app. CBS Sports Radio.
I'm Omar Reese with NFL Network now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Chargers kicker Dustin Hopkins battled through a hamstring injury and hit 4 field goals, including the game-winning 39-yarder as the Chargers beat the Broncos 19-16 in overtime on Monday.
You should Google it, guys, and I'll sit back and wait for your reaction.
Why would you turn that down?
It is as the team starter for Sunday night's game against the Steelers. Tagovailoa has spent the last 2 weeks in concussion protocol. Commanders quarterback Carson Wentz underwent surgery for a fractured finger on his throwing hand in a
No, he should have been player of the week last week. The Dorman kicker.
Mm-hmm. Do miss 3 and then hit the field goal of his life to walk it off.
Whether you're working in an office or remote, Staples has your tech. New AirPods so I can turn up the music and tune out distractions. Staples has your tech.
Oh, a spare monitor for my spare bedroom/home office.
A webcam for all my video chats.
Staples has you covered with tech solutions and accessories, from the latest laptops to networking solutions. And now Apple AirPods Pro are just $199. You save $50. The latest tech solutions are at Staples, the working and learning store, in-store and online. Ends 10/22, limit 2 while supplies last.
Mondays catch a bad rap, but come on, they aren't that bad. Especially thanks to Mo Monday, where you can enjoy an awesome burrito, chips, salsa, and drink for an amazing deal. See you and your friends and everyone else for Mo Monday.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes.
Have you looked at the game Scorn on Game Pass?
Scorn?
It is so nasty looking that I can't play it.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a horror game?
Well, it's a first-person shooter, but
Okay. Story takes place between 2 silent protagonists.
no. Look at the trailer. You can look at the trailer. You don't even need to hear anything. Just look at the trailer.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast. I need Indeed. Indeed you do.
They're like arms sticking out of things and stuff. It's just gross.
Match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You saw the lemon here, see? Come here, look at this.
Scorn.
Lab startup just discovered a gene therapy breakthrough.
Cells have already doubled.
He needs a fleet of research assistants before this breakthrough breaks them.
We need lab techs, research assistants.
Indeed can
All
help
right.
them hire great people fast.
Scorn official gameplay trailer.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This afternoon, mostly sunny and pleasant with a high of 78.
Weather brought to you by One Pay. Improve your gas mileage by properly inflating tires and taking your car in for a tune-up. Join Odyssey, and together each of us.
It looks like Nightmare Skyrim.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Wherever you are on the Odyssey app.
It's a tasty little groove, man. All right, the Rob Brown Show wrapping up. This is the Fan Upstate. Robbie Anderson got traded to the Cardinals, and the answer I had was like, yeah, of course he did. Of course he did. Why wouldn't he, right? First off, those talks were already happening. We know that, right? They did not come to an agreement with the Cardinals for a pair of draft picks in return for Robbie Anderson overnight. Didn't happen. They were already in the conversation. With Arizona. They just felt the need to stomp on the accelerator to get a deal done. Because Robbie showed his rear end to the nation in that game. Now, Robbie put up a thing on Instagram, responded to Jonathan Stewart, who basically said just that. Robbie was like, this is ridiculous. You're not finna paint me as the bad guy. I can't throw the ball to myself, and I can't call the plays. And I actually agree with that, right? Had Robbie just come out and said that, right? Hey, Robbie, what's going wrong this year? Well, man, look, I can't throw the ball to myself, and I can't call the plays. I'd be like, all right. I mean, like, you're trashing your quarterback and offensive coordinator, but you know who else is doing that? Everybody else, every other Panther fan, player, everybody feels that way about your OC and your QB. Everybody feels that way. I would have been like, all right. What did Falcon say? He's out of line, but he's right. Right? He's out of line, but he's right. You lost me when you blew up on your own team on the sideline. I don't mind you calling out. Blunt, forced honesty is fine. But blowing up on the sideline, getting kicked out of a game, that's where he lost me. I'm 0% surprised Robbie Anderson got dumped. They were already working on it. He just gave them a reason to hit the throttle.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
Not as much fun when you know it's coming. All right, time for Twitter Trending Topics. You did. It was awesome. And I took direction perfectly because that's what I do. The first thing that's trending is Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens trending. I watched Raw Live last night. Kevin Owens was not on it, at least not that I saw. So I don't know why he's trending.
All right, he's trending because he just put out a video, and like a lot of big name wrestling stars, they're showing up on NXT tonight.
I got you. NXT is going to be big. NXT is probably the first time in a while that I'm like, okay, I need to watch you. So
there's a true test going to happen tonight, although not really, because it's going up against AEW, and AEW beat them, and even Triple H said that they beat developmental, which is what I was saying the whole time. But now Triple H is in charge, so
yeah, it's personal.
Yeah,
Triple H hates that he lost, even if it was just developmental.
And I just saw
that he lost.
That how much WWE stock has been up since. I mean, the actual stock,
6%.
Yeah,
Vince left.
It's up a bunch.
Here's the thing. Do you think Vince the egomaniac is sitting at home mad that this thing is pulling in more money without him? Or do you think he's giving himself credit? Because Vince has said publicly, my dream is to make WWE so efficient that it doesn't need me or anybody else to roll on and succeed. Do you think he's patting himself on the back, or he's upset about the fact that they ditched him and now they're making more money than before?
Oh, he's upset. He's got too much of an ego to not be upset about that.
Triple H, who I think has done a remarkable job reinvigorating the product, without a doubt. I wondered why. Like, I know next week is the pay-per-view, and, so tonight's kind of the NXT go-home show, setting up the pay-per-view, picking all the stipulations, all that stuff. But I wondered why all of the main roster guys were coming down, and now it makes sense because Dynamite, thanks to tip-off of NBA tomorrow, has been moved from Wednesday to Tuesday, which means that for the first time in a long time, for the first time since they moved NXT off of Wednesdays because they were losing to AEW, you've got them going up head-to-head. So Hunter is going to send everybody he can down there to grab the attention of a guy like Rob Brown. Although I will tell you, Best Friends versus Death Triangle is going to be amazing tonight. Amazing.
We're going to watch both. At least I am. But
as I mentioned earlier, I got 7 screens in the man cave. I got enough for everybody and then some.
Well, if you DVR it just right, you can watch them both tonight. I mean, because there ain't nothing else going on. All right. We got time enough for one more. Travis Kelce is trending.
Travis Kelce. I assume it is because of the video that I saw yesterday of a dude walking through. I don't know what game he was at. Like, I don't know what game. He was at a sporting event of some type, and the dude's got the phone, and he goes, hey, yo, look, it's the GOAT. And he turns, and Travis Kelce is just walking amongst the people, knocking back a Budweiser, and Kelce just gives this little sly, like, sup, dog? And that's it. That's the whole video. And just like when the Falcons took their offensive line out into the concourse at the Mercedes-Benz Dome to crack open a few cold ones with the fans, you show me an athlete who is cool just walking down the hallway drinking a beer with the fans, Lonzo, I am a fan of that guy. I already liked T. Kels. Now I love the guy.
That's not why he's trending, but it's cool. He's trending because they restructured his contract to make his salary a signing bonus, making some room for somebody. I don't know who.
Chiefs are about to make a move. Chiefs are about to make the move. I wonder, Run CMC, who it might be. I wonder who McCaff might make a push for.
I don't know.
We'll see. Break it down. Hey, get the Views from Mint Street podcast. No particular reason you might want to listen to that, where you get your Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, or Apple iTunes, or free on the Odyssey app. Get the Views from Mint Street podcast with me, Alonso. Jim Rome's up next. Mark Ryan and Diesel at 3. Have a great day, everybody. See you back here tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother.
All right, I hit delete. Delete. Bonus coverage just for you on the stream because he forgot to turn it off.
I did forget to turn it off. Hey, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Have yourselves a lovely rest of your day. Run CMC to the Chiefs. Lonzo's going to have a very interesting time coming to grips with that. Watch. Call on it now. It's them or Buffalo. Lonzo's going to be very happy or very upset.